I'm John Kane. I'm a job creator. Well, we've got to motivate business owners to hire. They've got to be motivated to hire. They got to feel confident that they're hiring for the right reasons, and that's because they need jobs. And we need to do things to really take pressure off from the regulators that are being applied and reduce that pressure that's being applied to the banks and then again being applied back to the business owner. So I think some of the regulatory issues that are being overemphasized now are really a deterrent to a lot of business owners to give them the confidence that it's time to go hire people. I mean, they are really pushing the banks hard on existing relationships and on new loans. There's very few new loans being made in the environment today out there. The problem that real estate is facing today is really access to capital is one of the major issues that we've got. You know, banks have had so much pressure put on them to really restrict lending, which is really just allowing our industry, which is very capital dependent. We need the banks to be lending money to us in order to build projects. We also need demand, and of course, without demand for office space or residential or a hotel or whatever it is that you're trying to build, you know, there is no need for the capital. But right now, we need both of those to really come together, and people get confident again about moving into new offices or moving into a new residence or traveling again or whatever it is that they're holding back on. So there are a lot of issues there that I think need addressing, but really it's a confidence issue as much as anything else. You know, the banks need to be regulated. They have to be regulated. Obviously, the subprime mess that we all got into years ago, you know, but I think sometimes we swing way too far the other way. And the commercial industry that we're in, you know, we have to have access to bank capital in order to grow. And I think that sometimes they just they go way too far the other way. And I think that's what we're experiencing now. There are very few banks that are actually making loans, looking for loans, and are out there doing anything but just taking care of what's on their balance sheet today. We've got to loosen that up, and we've got to let the regulators, let the banks do their jobs. You know, they're here for a reason, and they're an integral part of the economy, and we've got to let them let loose of the money and let it float. But they need to be prudent, and they need to be regulated. You know, one of the issues today is that there's so much pressure from the regulators that they're making these banks mark loans down, which means that the loan that was $1 on the books is now 25 or 30 cents on the book. So it's something that's very problematic for that bank. The bank has then got to do something with that because they've written something down. So they're having to sell the note to somebody else, or they're doing something internal with that, and that creates pressure between the borrower and the banker. And so the relationship then becomes something that's less effective because maybe they sell the loan to a third party and another party has it now and they don't have a relationship. So the relationship between a banker and a borrower is a unique relationship, and I think that we've got to allow those relationships to really move forward the way the banking system has worked effectively in the past, and let the bankers do their job. Let them regulate. They need to be regulated, but give the banker some leeway who understands their customer and what the ability of their customer is much better than any regulator could possibly understand.